Hello and welcome. For the millionth time, I'm actually trying to balance sound this time and it's ruining my life. Anyway, you better appreciate the sound that we have. I haven't made a video in a while, so thank you for stopping by. If you don't know, I am Dika. I like painting and doing art stuff, and once every couple months I make a video about art stuff. And so this is that video. And when I was looking for a recording of something I had done for this video, I was going through my painting app trying to find something. And I was looking for a painting I did of just like some random Sonic the Hedgehog scene, because what I want to talk about today is painting quickly, the importance of speed in painting. And when I was watching the process video that you're currently watching right now, I realized that it was perfect, not because it was about Sonic the Hedgehog, but because it really illustrated what I want to talk about, and that is getting ideas down on the canvas quickly, and not worrying too much, and also not being too precious with the things that we paint. And being willing to get rid of those things quickly if they are not working out, which is what you can see a lot of happening here. So when we say we want to paint quickly, what does that mean? Well, it does not mean throwing marks on the canvas randomly, because just slopping paint around is never going to produce good art if there is no thought behind it. So when we're talking about painting quickly, it means trying to make the big decisions quickly. So we're making decisions. I'd like that pink cloud a second ago. I should have kept that. So we're making decisions, and we're putting thought into those decisions, but we are evaluating them quickly, and if they are not working, then we just get rid of them and we try something else, or we adjust them until they do work. So what can help us to... Well, first of all, what are the benefits of working quickly? Let's start with that. One of the benefits of working quickly is when you're putting down the actual Sonic painting is starting here. Get ready. When you put down your initial shapes, a huge amount of the mental work of painting gets done relatively quickly. I think it's 20% of the work takes 80% of the time? Oh, right. The first 80% of the work takes 20% of the time. And that first 80% of the work is when you're laying in your big shapes, when you're figuring out your perspective, and when you're figuring out your composition. That is where we're getting lots of work done in a very short period of time. The video loops here, sorry. And it's that work, the making those decisions of the composition, figuring out the perspective, figuring out your shape quality, figuring out your anatomy. It's figuring all of those things out that is the practice, and that is going to help you improve. Spending hours rendering something generally is not going to help you improve a lot. It'll help you with your rendering, I guess, if you're working on that. But there's a whole lot more to art than rendering. And something that can happen is you can make a painting and it's just not working. But even though it's not working, you go to rendering and you start spending hours rendering it. But it's not looking any better because the sketch underneath is not good. The composition is not good, and no matter how much you render it, it's not going to make it look any good. So really all of that time spent rendering is a complete waste and does not help you with anything. So by learning to work quickly, by putting in our big shapes and then making the decision on if it's working or not. If it's not working, what can we change, or do we just need to scrap it? By doing those things quickly, you can do it more, which will get you more experience, and you will make more improvement. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Another thing about working quickly and not being too precious about the things that we make and being willing to throw them away is it helps us with thumbnailing, which is important. Let's say you sit down to paint a picture, and so you do the first sketch, and you keep that sketch, and that's the one you take to finish. Which, I mean, it will probably be fine. But what if you were to thumbnail 3 more sketches? 3 more compositions? The odds of that first sketch being the best one is only 25%. The odds are better that it's one of those other 3 that is going to be the best sketch and is going to be more worth the time to take to finish and to spend the time rendering. So by working quickly, it also lends itself to thumbnailing, which will help us to choose a composition and piece that is more worth our time of taking to finish. And you see that with me here. I went through all of these paintings, just slapping things down and it wasn't working, and slapping things down and it wasn't working. And then I found this and I really liked it and I took it to finish. And it's probably one of my favorite things that I made, and it took minutes once I actually got to it. I guess not minutes. It took an hour, I think. So this is a good example of that, because if I had just stuck with the first thing I started to sketch down, I would have spent hours and hours rendering whatever this monstrosity is. I think it's buildings with some clouds around it is what it was supposed to be. And then it wouldn't have been all that great, and the Sonic one would never have happened, and it would have been a huge waste of time. So, yes, by working quickly, that helps us to thumbnail. When we can thumbnail, we can choose the best option out of our sketches, and that will lead to higher quality work. And yes, that is it. One more thing I want to talk about. We touched on this briefly. I have brief notes, but I didn't really prepare proper notes, so this might be a little bit rambly. But how do we work quickly? Well, keep these things in mind. Your subject, what this thing is you want to paint. Your perspective, because your perspective needs to be right in the sketch. If your perspective is, well, it needs to be pretty right. Maybe not 100%, but it needs to be pretty right in the sketch. Because once you start putting in your values, changing that is going to be a pain. So you need to think about your subject. You need to make sure your perspective is looking good in your sketch. And then you need to think about your composition of your shapes. Try to place in big, medium, and small shapes quickly, just like this one right here. We have the big snow, the medium sky, and then we have the small little lake on the bottom. So place in your big, medium, and small shapes quickly, and then judge how those main big, medium, and small shapes are working. And if they're not working, get rid of them or change them. If your perspective is not working, do not start rendering. Change the perspective until it starts working. And I think those are the two main things when you are thumbnailing or sketching or trying to figure out which work you want to take to completion. As long as your composition is good, which means the placement of your shapes, and your perspective is good, those are the two things you want to really just hammer away at until you get them right. And once you get them right and the thing looks good, I like this piano. This one probably could have gone all the way. Like, look how quickly that went down. And this is basically the scene, right? We could have taken that to completion and it would have looked good. So, yes, your big, medium, and small shapes, get those in quick. If they're not working, change them or just get rid of them. Your perspective needs to be right from the start. And if it's not working, change it or just get rid of it. And if you focus on that kind of workflow, it should help you to sketch quicker, better, and also be more willing to get rid of things that aren't working quicker, which is going to help you in your decision making. When you see fast painters, they're not fast at moving the brush. They are fast at making decisions. That's the big thing. A quick painter hasn't, practiced his 360 no scopes with a paintbrush, and that's why he's able to paint so well, or so quickly. A fast painter paints fast because they have trained themselves to make decisions quickly while they are working. And the one way you can do that is by just smashing out thumbnails, like you see happening right now. So that's why I wanted to talk about it. And I wanted to talk about it because sometimes I see people and they're really struggling with a piece, and it's just the composition is not there and the perspective is not there, and they say something like, I've been working on this one for 12 hours, I've been working on this one all week. And even if the piece is working out, if you're still in the learning stage of art, spending a week on a piece, I mean, I'm not going to tell you it's wrong because it's art. You can do whatever you want. But if your goal is improving, spending a week on a piece is probably not the best. You want to be getting through them quicker than that. You want to be getting through them quick, being able to evaluate them quickly, and then move on. Take what you can learn from that evaluation, and then move on to maybe working on a weakness that you found, or working on a new thing if you feel you've gotten all of the fundamentals down from the last project that you worked on. I hope that made sense. This video might have been a little bit rambly, but work quick, fail quick. Don't get too precious with your paintings. Be ready to throw them away. And that's going to help you make decisions faster, which is what will make you a quick painter. And if you're a quick painter, you will probably end up being a good painter because you will just have more experience. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Oh yes, before I go, there is the Patreon. Yay! Deca Digital Painting. Group classes starting at $5 Canadian, which is not much American right now. I can't remember how much, but I think the Canadian dollar fell again. So yeah, there you go. There's also one-on-one classes if you're interested in that, so you can check those out as well. I always mean to plug this in the middle of the video, but I always forget and do it at the end. So probably no one's going to see this now because nobody will have watched this video to the end. But that is it. So thank you. I am Dika. It was a good time. I hope the video isn't too rambly. And I hope you have yourselves a wonderful, quick art time painting fastly and quickly. Much love. Bye-bye, 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 bye-bye. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for talking. Bye. Get the Patreon. Bye.